What is up, everybody? Furious Nation of YouTube. This is Adam Carl. It's the debut episode one of the Forbidden Podcast here on YouTube, Hardcore Sports and Furious Nation. It is Saturday, March 22nd, 2025, almost at the end of March. I know that's the wrong fucking intro. I just pressed live. I thought the proper intro was set for this, but I don't know what the fuck happened, and I apologize to Xavier
It's all right.
and Mitch for this. I don't know.
It's all right.
Apologize for that. I didn't expect that. I thought it was like the right intro. I don't know if Xavier's here. Hopefully he's here, but we'll do our best to get through this. And I apologize, guys, in advance with this. But anyways, this is the Forbidden Podcast episode 1 debut here on YouTube. I got Adam Carl with me here. We're gonna talk WrestleMania stuff since WrestleMania is approaching. So we'll have a good talk here, despite the beginning and everything else. But Adam Carl, I first gotta ask you, how are you feeling, man?
I'm doing fantastic. I just got done from work. I got a bit of a rest, and
Nice.
now I've restored some energy.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm very excited to do the show because it was pitched to me obviously by you and Mitch
Yes.
a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
And I was very interested in doing this show. And I needed the date and the timing of it.
Yes,
couldn't have come at a better time.
Yeah, so 1 p.m. I know we went about 5-6 minutes late. Thought I sent the right link to Adam Carl, and I thought I sent the right one, and gave him the StreamYard link for him to get in here to start this, and then I was hoping Xavier would be in here by 1. I don't know if he is or not. I was just a big freaking mess in the beginning, but I mean, hey, listen, we'll have a good discussion here. We're talking WrestleMania stuff. We're gonna talk about the greatest WrestleMania matches of all time. I figured maybe top 3 good WrestleManias, top 3 worst WrestleManias. We'll talk about some like WrestleMania news and rumors or something like that. Talk about what could be the rest of the card for this year's WrestleMania in Las Vegas, our thoughts and everything else on that. And we'll have a good time discussing all that here on YouTube. But first things first, before we begin, I want you to hit the like on the video. Be definitely appreciated, and go subscribe to not only Furious Nation, but also subscribe to Hardcore Sports. They just reached 1,300 subscribers, so another congratulations to them. This is only the beginning. They're only going to continue to grow. I'm very happy, and Adam Carl, very happy to be a part of the team, and just very grateful to be a part of the team, and we're very appreciative to be on the journey. And so yeah, congrats to the Hardcore Sports Network. I know Mitch is doing a lot of streams today as well. I know he's a busy man today, so shout out to Mitch, my buddy on the SmackDown watch along here on Hardcore Sports and Furious Nation every Friday night on YouTube with SmackDown. We did one last night for SmackDown, which I thought was boring. I'm sorry, it was fucking bad. It was bad, dude. Nothing happened on that show outside of the beginning and the end, but that was a terrible show. But once this live stream's over, go check that out if you haven't done so already. When we have this here, and also follow me. And also not only subscribe to Furious Nation Hardcore Sports, go follow Adam Carl on X as well. Follow me on X as well. I'm also on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I don't use TikTok, but it's there. But and also the other thing, mentioning like the video, hit subscribe and turn the bell for all notifications. So we might as well begin. We are going to first talk about, now this is a WrestleMania themed episode 1 of the Forbidden Podcast. We might as well start off with the best WrestleMania matches of all time. Our top 3. I have my top 3. Adam Carl has his top 3. I might as well. I guess I'll begin here. I got my top.
Obviously.
Yeah, yes, definitely subjective. I mean, there's some good apples, some bad apples regarding WrestleMania matches. Some people have their favorite Mania matches of all time. Some others may have different takes on it. But yeah, all is subjective matter, and wrestling is the subjective matter, also objective. But I mean, nonetheless, I digress. My top 3 WrestleMania matches of all time. I got the first one, The Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels from the 25th anniversary of WrestleMania, and not only this match on my list, but also my favorite match ever in the history of pro wrestling, and still is in a lot of people's eyes to this day. You ask a lot of people nowadays, wrestling fans in particular, hey, what's your favorite wrestling match of all time? More times than not, they'd say Undertaker versus HBK from WrestleMania 25. And we got Mitch here in the chat right here. What's good, guys? Have a great show. Thank you, Mitch. Greatly appreciated. But yeah, Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels. I watched that match live on pay-per-view WrestleMania 25. 5-star classic. One of the greatest of all time. One of the greatest matches of all time from two of the greats to ever lace up a pair of boots. 2 Hall of Famers. They had this great story going into this when Undertaker had the WrestleMania undefeated streak. This also bled into the next year's WrestleMania in 2010 in Arizona, WrestleMania 26, where Shawn Michaels put his career on the line, where Shawn Michaels retired. They had the Slammy Awards show in 2009, which led at a great promo video package for that match at WrestleMania 26 was great, where Shawn Michaels went crazy when he was eliminated from the 2010 Royal Rumble, Superkick and referees, etc., etc. But anyways, WrestleMania 25 set the tone for that match for that next year's WrestleMania between these two men. I thought the story, the emotion, just spot on. Shawn Michaels doing everything he can to break the Undertaker streak, using the cameraman spot, sweet chin music, and Shawn Michaels doing everything he possibly can to break the dead man streak. And I thought this was a very fantastic match. And watching it live on pay-per-view, words could not describe how just hooked and emotionally I felt watching this classic.
Absolutely, there's honestly any of those matches that we're going to mention. This match, the matches, the rest that you mentioned, the matches that I'll mention. Words cannot do them justice. You need to see them You need to see them to feel them.
Absolutely. And both men were in their prime here.
And a rare emotion.
Yes. Yeah, the emotion, and the build I thought was pretty decent as well. You had the previous year, Shawn Michaels retired Ric Flair at WrestleMania 24 in 2008 in Orlando. And Undertaker going into WrestleMania 25 was 16-0. Then he obviously beat Shawn Michaels with a great finish, where Shawn Michaels jumping on the top rope. He gets caught in midair with Shawn Michaels started a moonsault attack. And Undertaker catches HBK in midair, delivers a tombstone. It was a great finish. The Undertaker dead man dive with the cameraman. Undertaker almost getting counted out. That was a good spot as well. But I love the finish of that match, dude. That Shawn Michaels getting caught with the tombstone. And that was enough for Undertaker to get the victory and extend his WrestleMania undefeated streak to 17-0. It was great.
And there was also the other spot of the match where, Michaels, he tried to do the catwalk from the ropes, and then that first tombstone spot where Taker, he hit the tombstone, and then when HBK kicked out, he had this great reaction. He had this great reaction. It was a disbelief.
Michaels got the shoulder up. Undertaker's like
disbelief like this. You rarely see the Undertaker, especially as the dead man, having a reaction like this.
Yeah,
it sold it. It sold that. It sold it, and it made that match more epic.
Absolutely.
And the entrances as well. I don't know if you mentioned the entrances, but the entrances. Shawn Michaels ascending from the heavens, the Undertaker coming from the depths of hell. Felt like heaven versus hell.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But it was just like the entrances, not just the build, the story, the entrances. Shawn Michaels had that great entrance when he was I think he was in the white jacket, white hat with the Undertaker, like he's from the like he lowered down. It was great.
Yeah.
Really, really good stuff. But yeah, two of the greatest storytellers, and still to this day, the greatest match of all time.
This
In
is
my
a match
honor.
as well, for more context. This was a match that, in a way, that was 11 years in the making.
Yeah,
Because you're gonna have to date that back to when Shawn Michaels retired, essentially, back in
yeah,
1998, because of the back injury that was caused unintentionally by the
right.
Undertaker in that
Yeah,
casket match.
yeah.
Then they
Exa-
spent so much of their, all the 2000s on separate brands until they met again in the 2007 Royal Rumble.
Yeah, they were the final two in the
Minutes.
2007 Royal Rumble. Undertaker was like number 30. It was down to Undertaker and Michaels. On in that Rumble, my favorite Rumble of all time, by the way, the 2007 Royal Rumble, still to this day my favorite. Just
And
it
they
was
had a mini one-on-one match in there. They made it to the final. They had like a mini one-on-one match. It felt like a teaser for
no,
for what's to come.
absolutely,
And then the following year they started out the Rumble from number 1 and number 2.
yeah, absolutely. So this
The
was
clues were there all along. The seeds were there, and they built it perfectly.
absolutely, absolutely. So, second, my top three WrestleMania matches of all time: Undertaker, Shawn Michaels from WrestleMania 25. Second one of that, WrestleMania 21, going back 4 years before this, Shawn Michaels in a WrestleMania 21 match, but against Kurt Angle. Now, this was another classic. I mean, this is another interpromotional match here. But at this time, Kurt Angle was in 2005, early 05 on SmackDown. Shawn Michaels was on Raw, and Undertaker and Kurt Angle and Shawn Michaels had quite the
Undertaker was
underrated
wrestling
rivalry 2005 as well. What?
since you mentioned Undertaker, yeah, he was wrestling Randy Orton that time,
Yep.
and they were also
Legend versus Legend Killer. Yep. But Shawn Michaels and Kurt Angle, man, delivered a very good match as well. And I mean, the story going into it was nice, where it started back the 2005 Royal Rumble, where Kurt Angle entered the Rumble. Shawn Michaels eliminated him very quick, and Kurt came back to eliminate him and put him in the ankle lock after he busted him open with the steel steps. Then going into that match for that year's WrestleMania in 2005, WrestleMania 21 in Los Angeles at the Staples Center, where Kurt Angle on SmackDown brought out Sensational Sherry, then Marty Jannetty, and Kurt Angle had the Sexy Kurt song. It was great.
incredible.
I'm just a sexy Kurt. Sexy Kurt. I'll make your ankle hurt. Ankle hurt. The ankle lock. The angle slam. It was great. Kurt Angle was entertaining in his prime.
Anything Shawn Michaels could do, Kurt Angle can do better.
Absolutely.
You remember that?
Yes. And then and their match, man, just the storytelling spot on. Definitely, and again, a classic match, just like Undertaker and HBK. HBK, Kurt Angle, no different. Really good spots. Kurt Angle was the heel, obviously. Shawn Michaels was the babyface. You had Kurt Angle win this with the ankle lock, where Shawn Michaels multiple times tried to fight out of it, but Kurt Angle just held on to the hold. Then he just dropped
1 minute.
his leg onto and then Kurt Angle like dropped toe hold himself on the HBK's leg where Kurt was playing the ankle lock on. And it was like, and usually when that happens, it's over. And Shawn Michaels eventually tapped out, which again, really good match. And in my opinion, one of the most underrated WrestleManias of all time, WrestleMania 21. This was good stuff, Kurt Angle and HBK. And it led to the two other encounters that same year in 2005, Vengeance 2005, where Shawn Michaels won the rematch. And then I think in an Iron Man match on Raw in the fall of 05, but it led to a draw.
The Raw Homecoming.
Yeah, Raw Homecoming 2005, October 05. Thoughts?
I mean, can't go wrong with this. It's two of the all-time greats, two of the best in-ring wrestlers in history.
Yes.
I mean, you cannot expect anything other than a fucking masterclass.
Absolutely.
And you cannot expect anything other than that. You got two guys on the level of a Michaels, of an Angle.
Yeah.
You cannot they set a high expectations for when you have two guys like that in the ring. You have so much high expectations, so much hype going into it, and they didn't just meet them; they exceeded them.
No, yeah, no lies detected there, man.
Memorable. People still talk about it today.
Absolutely,
And I
man.
can't call WrestleMania 21 underrated, by the way. I cannot call that honestly because when everybody talks about it, and pretty much to many, it's their favorite Mania. Basically, it was their childhood WrestleMania. If you're somebody that grew up on the Ruthless Aggression era.
Yeah. And it set the tone for the future during the Ruthless Aggression era at the time, like 05-ish, like John Cena, Batista, Edge. It created, like, WrestleMania 21 created new stars and those three men.
Yeah, Craig Batista, Cena, Orton, Edge, those
Yes.
guys. And then you had, The Undertaker had a new lease on life,
Yeah.
with the streak. Shawn
Mhm.
Michaels was basically on an all timer or second run that is arguably even better than the first. Then you got Kurt Angle at the prime of his career.
Yeah.
Can't go better than that.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
It's like you
Definitely
cannot
can't.
ask for anything better than this. There's an
Absolutely. And then
all-time top tier
then
show, and
and
this
then
match
Eddie
was
and Ray as well. Can't forget Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio, which was sadly Eddie's last WrestleMania match, but they also set the tone for that year's WrestleMania.
when you have a card like this with all this so much star power, they absolutely nailed it.
Fuck yeah.
Like they deliver on every category in every sense of the word on what a WrestleMania should be.
Yeah.
This is a textbook picture of what a WrestleMania can be and what a WrestleMania should be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Just the emotion and just you have to feel the passion, the energy, and just that's important. That's important.
And this was before WrestleMania went back to stadiums. This was
Yeah.
before.
Yeah. But we talk about setting the tone in the future, and this was during the Ruthless Aggression era. They definitely set the future when it was that era. We talk about like the future being made in Edge, John Cena, Orton, Batista as well. Speaking of whom, this is my top three WrestleMania, like my top three WrestleMania matches. The first two I discussed. This is the third one out of the three. Batista versus The Undertaker at WrestleMania 23 for the World Heavyweight Championship. You talk about an underrated match, doesn't get talked about enough, and they stole the show, in my opinion, both Undertaker and the Animal Batista. All started back when Undertaker won the 2007 Royal Rumble. Batista was world champion going into that year's WrestleMania in Detroit at Ford Field. Undertaker chose Batista for that year's Mania. Undertaker on Raw, and then on that Raw where he makes his WrestleMania decision, he chokeslams Batista in the middle of the ring. That sets up Batista Undertaker versus Cena and Michaels at No Way Out in 07, where Batista delivered a spine buster to Undertaker from Payback, where Undertaker chokeslammed Batista when Taker made his Mania decision for WrestleMania 23. And then you see all these brawls with Undertaker and Batista, just foes, like bitter enemies at the time. They had a very underrated rivalry in 07 as well. And their Mania match in 07 set the tone of what was a very good rivalry between these two men throughout the rest of 2007. Last Man Standing match, Steel Cage match, Hell in a Cell throughout 07. You had Edge involved as well, which made it even better, especially when Edge cashed in his second Money in the Bank on The Undertaker after Batista and Undertaker had a cage match on SmackDown for the world title in May of 07. The match ended in a draw. Undertaker retained the title, but then Mark Henry came out, laid out The Undertaker. Edge came out, cashed in his Money in the Bank, and took the title off The Undertaker, set up Batista versus Edge trilogy throughout 07 when Undertaker was out. Then, unfortunately, Edge got hurt. Then the Great Khali won that Battle Royal to win the world title. Batista won it back and ended the Khali reign of terror, which Great Khali was one of the worst world champions of all time. Thank God. I mean, it was 2 months. Felt like 2 months too long, but thankfully,
at least it was 2 months. At least it wasn't too long.
True. Yeah.
At least Tully looked like a monster as a world champion.
Right. He was a terrible wrestler,
but about the likes of Jack Swagger and Jinder Mahal.
Oh God! Don't even get me started on those. But
at least Cully looked like he could kill somebody.
Yeah.
Well, unintentionally, obviously.
Right.
Sorry for the reference.
Yeah.
It wasn't Cully's fault. You know that it wasn't Cully's fault. I'm not gonna blame him for that. He was in a bad situation.
Right. I mean, Edge got hurt. You had people getting busted with the wellness policy after the Benoit incident as well. But yeah. But Batista wins the title back, takes it off Great Khali in the fall of 07. Then they resume the Undertaker-Batista rivalry. Cyber Sunday and Survivor Series 07, the Survivor Series 07 encounter inside Hell in a Cell where Edge came back from his injury and et cetera, et cetera. Then it led to Vicky Guerrero getting involved with Edge and Undertaker and Batista. And I thought Undertaker and Batista not only a very good rivalry throughout 07, but also a good WrestleMania 23 match in Detroit.
You talk about a match, obviously, that wasn't, that had very low expectation. At least with Michaels and Angle, you kind of expected the match to be, really good. With Batista and Taker, nobody expected it to be as good as it ended up being. Because you got two guys, you got two big guys who are good in their own way, but you don't know how to you don't know how they will mesh. Because a lot of times, a lot of big man matches tend to be okay. Some of them end up being good, but then a lot of times they end up like Undertaker versus Giant Gonzalez.
That fucking bombed. That was terrible. I don't think anyone wants to remember that, but that was so bad.
Yeah, what a fucking disaster that was. Poor Undertaker. What did he do to be in this match? What did he do wrong? But you come into this match, with very low expectations, and then Batista and Undertaker. This is a match that is perfect example of exceeding expectations. They had a chip on their shoulder on that night because they were told they weren't going to be the main event, and Taker and Batista were absolutely pissed.
Yeah,
they had a chip on the shoulder. They wanted to deliver the best match possible, and they just went out there and they had the match for the night. Basically, two of the best matches of some of the best matches of their fucking careers.
Absolutely.
This was the Undertaker at peak physical shape. Batista was at peak popularity. Batista at that point.
Yeah.
80,000 people at Ford Field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On April Fool's Day.
It was a fantastic match. The story going into it also good. And this was the first. This was the first match that pretty much that started a streak of back-to-back years of WrestleMania classics for The Undertaker. And pretty much, you talk about something so this set the tone in a way for numerous classic streak Undertaker matches from this WrestleMania all the way up until 29, where he had that match with CM Punk.
Yeah.
And because before that, how many great WrestleMania matches you could name of The Undertaker?
Not how many? His match with Kane at WrestleMania 20 was it wasn't that great.
It was a squash, pretty much. It was 80% of its. It was like 85% of its squash match.
Yeah, I feel like Undertaker's peak, WrestleMania matches, with the Undertaker's WrestleMania match undefeated streak thing, where it's really at his peak. I feel like it started in 2005 against Randy Orton at WrestleMania 21.
Yeah. I mean, the Orton match was good. Triple H versus the first one at WrestleMania 17. That was also
Mark Henry in the casket match at WrestleMania 22 in Chicago.
Yeah, it was. I won't call it like a great match per se, but it was all right.
Yeah, it was passable.
Yeah, I
would much rather that than the match with Giant Gonzalez, King Kong Bundy, matches like them, Big Boss Man.
Yeah, these were terrible matches. Why the hell was the Big Boss Man in the hell? I'm like, Big Boss Man was great, God rest his soul. But what the hell was he doing in a Hell in a Cell match at WrestleMania? What the hell was he doing? And Ric Flair versus Taker Mania 18, where Undertaker won his 10th WrestleMania match and he referenced the streak.
Yeah.
But you cannot name many great Undertaker Mania matches even before then. And then after he had the match with Orton, as you say, the tone was set for a great run of matches in Mania that featured the streak, and it became a big priority on WWE television, and it became just as big, if not even bigger, than winning a World Championship at WrestleMania.
Yeah, and I want to actually, David pot in the chat. Giant Gonzalez was a horrible match for Taker at Mania. Absolutely, 1,000% concur.
Not to disrespect the dead, obviously. We got rest Giant Gonzalez, so I'm sure he was a nice guy. He tried, but. But when you got a guy who's 8 foot tall in a wrestling ring,
he was.
There's nothing you could do with them. There's nothing you could do. I mean, you could try, obviously, but you have so much to work with.
Yeah, But yeah, this match, Undertaker Batista, set the tone for their really good rivalry in 2007. Also, I mean, as good as John Cena and Shawn Michaels was that main evented WrestleMania 23, as really good as that was, I mean, Batista and Undertaker. I mean, if you want to ask which match was better out of the two, I liked both matches, but if I had to choose one, it would be Batista versus the Undertaker, hands down. Just like the spots they had, the story, and they showed everybody, we're not, don't want to put us in the main event. Okay, we're going to show you why we should be the main event. And that's what Batista and Undertaker both did, man. Just the commentary, the way they sold the match was also spot on. You had Michael Cole and JBL commentate this match. You had where the story could Batista end the streak? Could he make history and end the Undertaker's streak? And he almost did off that Batista bomb towards the end. And then the Undertaker kicked out. He had that Undertaker deadman dive during the match, was another good spot as well. Batista with a power slam through the announce table from Batista Undertaker. That was another good spot as well. Just the overall story was just there. And it's just, like you said, Adam, both men at their peak, and you couldn't have asked for anything better.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
I discussed my top 3 WrestleMania matches of all time. Adam, what are your 3?
So, obviously, I wrote them, and I obviously can remember them on the top of my head. Number 1, this is obviously a memorable WrestleMania match. Not just one of the best WrestleMania matches ever, but one of the best matches of all time. And it set and laid the foundation and kickstarted what is considered in many, definitely if you're talking about the definitive eras of wrestling, this is what started pretty much the definitive era of wrestling. This match was a big part of that. Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Bret Hart, submission match, WrestleMania 13.
Yeah. 1997 in Chicago.
Yeah. When you discuss, what match set the Attitude Era, obviously there's a lot of, many things.
Yes.
That you can kickstart. Obviously Austin 316. The Nike Stunt Pins, the Montreal Screwjob. WrestleMania 14.
SummerSlam 1997.
Yeah, SummerSlam 1997, and which also led to the Kane debut at Bad Blood.
Yep.
But you can't. But for me, this is what started it all. Honestly, this is what started it. Austin and Bret from WrestleMania.
Absolutely.
And it's all kick-started in '96, just a year before this. So Bret lost the belt to Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 12 in that Iron Man match.
Yeah, 1996 in Anaheim.
Yeah, he took a hiatus, and Steve Austin, he just came in from a run in WCW and a mini run in ECW. He was fired in a phone call by Eric Bischoff. By the way, how do you fire somebody on a fucking cell phone while they're recovering from an injury?
Yeah, that Eric Bischoff WCW at the time, man.
Came back to bite him on the ass. And, then he had his mini run in ECW, and then he came into WWF as the ringmaster.
Yeah.
What the hell was a ringmaster?
Well,
he was good. Why? He was a good
foot in the door.
Wrestler?
It was a foot in the door, at least, though, for Steve Austin.
Yeah. I guess the gimmick was that he was a good technical wrestler. Maybe. Well, he was also good in the ring, so I can't deny that.
Yeah, but hey, things happen for a reason, man.
Yeah. It was a starting point. It wasn't the worst thing in the world. It wasn't as bad as like the likes of Mantar and Alba Montoya. I mean, I've seen more. I mean, it wasn't as bad as those.
But he won the 1996 King of the Ring.
That wasn't even originally going to happen. That was what was meant for Triple H. And then obviously the curtain call happened, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
Then you had the famous Austin 316 promo. Austin 316
said, "I just whipped your ass."
Yeah, after he beat Jake Roberts in the finals, and then in the weeks after that, months leading up to that, he called out Brett. He was sitting at home. He had that feud with Brian Pillman, Hollywood Blonde's teammate.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there was this one famous segment. Obviously, everybody knows about this. The famous segment on Raw where Brian Pillman, he threatened to shoot Austin with a gun. Austin was hunting for Pillman, and he went to his home. And then Pillman, he grabbed the gun.
That would never happen
This
in
was during
today's
his
WWE.
It was so outrageous. It was so egregious. The USA Network was so pissed at Vince McMahon. They were so pissed that they threatened to take Raw off the air unless Vince apologized for what happened. Yeah. In a lot of ways, it's also what laid the groundwork for the Attitude Era was that segment.
Yeah. And then the storyline of Brett and Steve Austin going into the 1996 Survivor Series in Madison Square Garden, then the 1997 Royal Rumble where Bret Hart did eliminate Steve Austin, but the referees never seen it. And from behind, Steve Austin eliminated Bret, and Bret was going on this tirade. I've been screwed by Shawn Michaels and Stone Cold. I'm the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. I always get screwed. And then he pushes down Vince in a cage on Raw. The frustrated isn't a goddamn word for it.
And this before this, he won the WWF Championship. And then Final Four match. It was before Austin. Sid, it was Taker, Vader, and Sid, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
It was Sid in that match. Who won the championship at Survivor Series, then lost it back to Shawn Michaels, and then Shawn Michaels lost his smile.
Yeah.
Lost his smile indeed. And I lost a part of my toes. Did that happen too? Yeah. That didn't happen.
No.
Yeah,
but yeah. Shawn Michaels back then, great wrestler, but he did a lot of bad politics back in the 90s.
Yeah.
The people he tried to bury, the people he buried, the people he didn't want to put over.
That's a story for a different time. Yeah, but then, Bret won the championship, but then he just lost it 24 hours later to Sid thanks to an interference from Austin.
Yeah.
And it pretty much set Bret over the edge.
And then Vince was trying to interview Bret, and Bret shoves Vince right down to the ground, and Bret yells at Vince, "Frustrated isn't a goddamn word for it. This is bullshit."
This was around the time Austin was also getting over, and even before we talk about '96. This was around the time Austin was getting over as this this cool heel.
Yeah,
this badass Texas rattlesnake.
And
but
Bret
the fans, they cheered him more and more.
Yeah.
And times were changing at that time. There was no longer this, cookie cutter, what you gonna do, brother, baby faces.
Even the new generation.
No, this was more about. Yeah. This was the golden era, new generation, and this was around 96, 97. Where Marilyn Manson and you had, the era of the anti-villains.
Yeah.
And Austin, he fit in that era. He fit that genre perfectly. And, they wanted something new. The fans wanted something fresh. He was something fresh. He was something different, unlike we've seen at that time.
Yeah.
And obviously with Bret, obviously he was really good, but it felt, in the eyes of the fans at least, that he was, his gimmick was passé. And they rejected him, and then for Austin, which led to this, that fresh, the frustration built in Bret, because he was the one that always did the right thing, and he got shunned for it.
Yeah.
And obviously, the match with, the shoving with, he shoved Vince in that ring after he lost that cage match.
Yeah.
Which is an all-time segment in Raw history. And then WrestleMania 13 match. What can I say? This is a match that you should, if you're somebody that has never watched professional wrestling before, this is a match you on first watch. If you want to get into the business, this is a match you have to see.
Absolutely.
This is one that you must see.
The story, the blood boiling feud these two men had, and then just the hatred. The hatred.
Yeah.
And it led to
Bret targeting the knee of Austin.
Yes. Targeted. Very heel-like.
Yeah.
Which
Austin
actually led to
give up.
Yeah, Steve Austin was all bloodied. He never tapped. He just passed out. He never gave up, never tapped, never quit. And and I think Ken Shamrock was the referee in this match as well. And Steve Austin fought, then he was passed out. Brett won the match, but after the match, he attacked Steve Austin's leg some more, and it led to a double turn actually, where Bret Hart as a babyface went heel, Steve Austin as a heel went babyface, and even after the match and the post-match attack, Steve Austin leaving the ring to go back to the back, he was cheered, and he just Stone Cold just has that genuine, natural, organic connection with the fans, and it's not easy to be that over. And he's still very over to this day, even in his retirement. And it's very, very difficult to be that over with the audience. There's very few people who have that genuine connection with the crowd.
It's difficult to be over for 30 years. It's difficult to be over like a year, let alone 30.
Yeah.
The fact that he has managed to be sustained, even after his in-ring career was over, it is a testament to the man's talent. It's a testament to the man's ability.
Absolutely.
That he was able to build a connection with the audience, which which most would die for. They would kill for like even a quarter of the connection that he had, a quarter of the reactions that he gets on a nightly basis.
Yeah. Yeah. And Steve Austin, man, one of the greatest to ever lace up a pair of boots, one of the greatest of all time, a Hall of Famer, and still is one of the all-time greats to this day. I mean, there's Undertaker.
There was also a Hall of Fame. Also, if there was also a Hall of Fame for matches, this would be there.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Just an iconic match, an iconic storyline.
Yeah,
that's pretty much cemented Steve Austin as the guy in the WWF.
Yep, where the next year, 1998, in Boston, WrestleMania 14, he became WWF champion for the very first time, beating Shawn Michaels when he had Mike Tyson involved. And that was the start of the McMahon-Austin rivalry as well. During the beginning of the Attitude Era, they had like Stone Cold and The Rock. Those were your two top dogs in the Attitude Era. So, really good. So, yeah. Bret Hart, Stone Cold, definitely. If you've never watched wrestling before, definitely go back. Like Adam said, definitely go watch this match. Peak storytelling and what wrestling is. Right there. And also, want to go back in the comment section. Wes in the chat. Hi, Nick and Adam. Y'all are killing it. Thank you, Wesley. Really appreciate it. And David Potton in the chat says, Nick, nice shirt. Well, wearing the John Cena retirement year shirt, so I appreciate the compliment. And then Cameron Johnson says, what's up, guys? Doing well, Cameron. Yep, doing well. And then SNWTV says salute. And then Robert Brown says Lafayette, Indiana, and the building was popping, y'all. Just chilling, Robert. But I hope you're doing well. But
hope you're having a good day. Hope everybody has a good day.
Yeah. But we talk about Stone Cold and Bret Hart. Speaking of Stone Cold.
Speaking of Austin and title matches, because we mentioned he was WWF champion WrestleMania 14, which leads to this match. WrestleMania 17, Steve Austin versus The Rock for the WWF championship in the Astrodome.
Yes. Houston, Texas, April 1st, 2001. And this was the last WrestleMania during the Attitude Era.
And the first WrestleMania to be held in a stadium since 1992.
Yep.
Since the Hoosier Dome.
Yep. Just like the
story. This time actually they had a better main event than what Hogan and Sid delivered.
Oh hell yeah.
Awful main event. Savage and Flair were right there, by the way. They were on the same card and they were in the main card.
It had emotional, personal story to it. And that didn't main event.
We gotta make Hogan look good, brother.
That'll work for me, brother. Randy Savage main eventing over me at WrestleMania 8 and 92. That don't work for me, brother. I'm always main event WrestleMania, brother. God, I can't stand Hogan.
That's selfish prick.
I can't stand Hogan.
It's nice to see his downfall where he's getting booed in front of 20,000 people on Netflix.
In the Intuit Dome, the first Raw on Netflix, where Undertaker
it was so joyful. Absolutely joyful.
Yeah, and he's now selling his Real American beer, which I've not tried yet, but I'm sure it's terrible. And I almost met him actually a few weeks ago, but never got the chance because there was a cutoff line, and just probably glad I didn't go. I was close to it. Would have been cool, but I mean, seeing the cutoff, I was disappointed. Then hearing the report where I think little kids were going to meet him, then he got them to cry because they didn't get the little kids didn't get what they wanted not long ago to meet Hogan. Yeah,
Never change. Never change.
Can't stand in the
But to get back to real business,
the guy's a piece of shit.
To get back to real business, you talk about a stars aligning moment where everything just clicks together. You got the two biggest stars, arguably, number one, A1, A2. If you want to, Austin A1, Rock A2, or Rock A1, Austin A2 of the Attitude Era.
Yep.
The two biggest stars in the history of the business, for the biggest prize in the industry, at the biggest show of the year.
Yeah.
Both men at the peak of their popularity, at the primes of their careers.
Yeah. Can't get better than that, man. Yeah. Steve Austin won his third Royal Rumble by eliminating Kane. Rock won the title at No Way Out that year. And it was their second WrestleMania encounter out of their 3 Mania encounters.
You need context. Because, you cannot explain just, by 2 months of this. Because they have so much deep-rooted history. It goes all the way back, obviously 1997. After Austin won the IC title back from Owen. God rest his soul.
Owen Hart, yes.
Yeah. Then, his first feud was with The Rock. Who debuted at Survivor Series on that same night that Austin had that match with Bret. He was Rocky Maivia. What a terrible gimmick. What a fucking terrible gimmick that was.
Yeah, but
thankfully, WWE came to their senses, and they ditched that gimmick.
And they turned him
after The Rock came back, I think he came back from a knee injury. He came back on the Raw after SummerSlam, 97, correct?
I think so. They turned him heel.
Yeah, that's when they turned him heel. I think he rock bottomed one of the DOA members. I don't know whose name is. But, he joined the Nation of Domination, and that's, that kick it. But pretty much his career was off to the races after that.
Then he ditched the Rocky Maivia name and was just simply The Rock.
Yeah.
But Rock and Austin, man, had a good match at WrestleMania 15 in Philadelphia in 1999, where Mick Foley was the special guest referee. But out of the 3...
And out as well, D-Generation X in 97. Rock stole the IC title, and then Austin got it back. Too. And then he handed him the IC title to The Rock because, he was going to go after the WWF Championship.
Absolutely.
And then the Games tournament from 1998 Survivor Series, The Rock was the face. He started building his name. The IC champion. He had that SummerSlam match with Triple H in the ladder match.
But then
he
Rock
turned face. Heel. Kind of face.
Yeah.
It was all a ruse.
Because he went heel at the Deadly Games tournament at the 1998 Survivor Series, The Rock and Mankind in that tournament finals, where Rock had Mankind in the sharpshooter, and The Rock became Vince McMahon's corporate champion. And that was the rise of Mankind, but also where Rock cost Austin the 1999 Royal Rumble, and then their match at WrestleMania 15 in Philadelphia. Really good match moment where Austin won back the championship. It was great.
Yeah. But if you're looking for the quintessential Austin Rock match, the definitive match pretty much of their rivalry, because honestly, if not Austin versus McMahon, this is right there as the greatest rivalry of the Attitude Era, or the greatest rivalry of all time.
Hell yeah.
Honestly, if Vince McMahon wasn't there, if Vince versus Austin was never a feud, I would have called The Rock Austin's greatest rival. But this goes to a testament how big and how amazing that Austin McMahon rivalry was. That even that The Rock being like Austin's second biggest rival is not a bad thing. If anything, that's a big accomplishment.
Yeah.
But if you want to talk about best opponent, I would say that Rock was Austin's best opponent. I will say even more so than Bret.
Yeah, and then
that WrestleMania 13 match was excellent. I will, as good as that WrestleMania 13 match, and excellent as it was, I would say arguably that The Rock was Austin's best opponent and and better rival.
And the story going into their match at WrestleMania 17, where The Rock was the champion, Stone Cold wanted The Rock's title, and just the
Austin
video
came back
package.
from a neck injury.
Yeah, he
2000
was.
as well. The Rocky won the 2000 Royal Rumble after Austin, went down with that neck surgery.
Yep.
He carried the company throughout 2000 with him and Triple H.
Yep. And
They
especially
had,
that
he
WWF
made
title.
event at WrestleMania that year, although it was in a 4-way featuring Mick Foley and The Big Show.
Yeah.
What the
And
hell?
then the
Vince
Rock
McMahon.
and
Vince McMahon, man,
Triple
he
H
always
at
loves to
that
make
time.
WrestleMania about himself, doesn't he?
Yeah.
McMahon in every corner. Gotta
Yeah.
make it about me, damn it.
Yeah, that was.
Gotta make it about my family, damn it.
Yeah, that I don't think that Mania was good in WrestleMania 16.
Yeah. What couldn't they just do? Why couldn't they should have just done Triple H versus The Rock that year? Why wasn't that the Mania? But I mean, listen, Foley, Big Show, they deserved their Mania main event, obviously. It should have just been objectively. Should have just been Austin, not Austin. I wish. Should have been just Rock and Triple H at Mania that year.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
the following,
but-
Austin comes back from the neck surgery. He wins the Rumble. He eliminates Kane. Kane having an all-timer performance at the Rumble,
Yep.
setting 11
Eliminated
eliminations,
11 people.
lasting nearly an hour.
Yep. Kane eliminated 11 people in that 2001 Royal Rumble. It was down to him and Stone Cold Stone Cold won this third Royal Rumble match.
Yeah. Also, part of that final 3 was The Rock.
Yeah.
And then Rock, obviously, he beat Kurt Angle to win back the WWF Championship after Kurt beat him at No Mercy.
Yeah. That was at No Way Out 2001 where Rock won the championship back from Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
Then their video package of Rock and Austin going into WrestleMania 17, the video package, the Limp Bizkit, My Way. That was great. Still to this day, my opinion, probably the greatest video package of all time, in my opinion, as far as WrestleMania build is concerned, for like WrestleMania in general. Really good stuff.
It fits the theme, not just of WrestleMania, but it fits the match itself.
Yeah.
You got the face of the company, pretty much Austin, who was on top of the world at one point. Then he goes down and goes into The Rock takes the bull and runs with it.
Yeah.
And then Austin comes, the king coming back for his throne, but standing in his way was a new king in town, and The Rock.
And then their match, I was like, and then their match, and then when the match was going on, before Stone Cold made his entrance, they had the ring announcer, I think it was Howard Finkel, announcing the match. It was like all of a sudden, okay, now this is the no disqualification match, and they did it for a reason. Because of what happened in the aftermath, where Stone Cold Steve Austin turned heel in 2001 at WrestleMania 17, aligned with Vince McMahon, where Rock dropped the title to Austin. And one of the top heel turns, but I mean, honestly, I did not like Stone Cold's heel run at all in 2001. I hated it. And I don't think he should have been a heel in the first place. I mean, it was a great moment that when he aligned with Vince and he was attacking Rock repeatedly with the steel chair. He had Paul Heyman and Jim Ross on commentary, and Steve Austin had his Disturbed theme song, I think, called Glass Shatters and such, and some entertaining stuff where Steve Austin, I think, was with Deborah, and he had the guitar thing during his heel 2001 run. Then the Alliance invasion, which was god awful, so bad. I did not enjoy Steve Austin's heel run at all in 2001. And I don't think they should have turned him heel at this WrestleMania.
I'm going to argue that it was actually really good. It was something different for Austin. And the story in itself, it's the story in itself. It made sense for him to turn because, he was desperate. He felt, that, the empire he built was passing him by. And he was so desperate to win the fucking championship that he had to align with his biggest enemy, his moral enemy, to get there. And the run itself, I will argue, this was 2001, I will say, was arguably his best work in ring overall. The matches with Jericho, the matches with, who shall not be named.
Well, I mean, we know Jericho and
I know the other guy.
Yeah.
Fuck him. And then Kurt Angle, Jericho, we mentioned him earlier, yeah. RVD.
Yep, RVD.
He was doing some excellent work. That was some of his best work in the ring and some of his best character work as well, having those segments with Kurt Angle. But
even
in a way, I would say as great as that turn was at that moment, because it's still remembered, I will say because as much as I liked his run there, it kind of was bad timing, I would say. I mean, I would call it right place, but wrong time.
Yeah.
Because he was still Austin, even even if it wasn't like 98, 99, this was still Steve Austin. This was like the most over guy on the entire roster, most over guy in the industry still.
Just turn him heel.
And there was still so much left in the tank for Austin as a heel, as a face, obviously. Sorry.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't the right time to turn him. Like nobody wanted to boo him.
No.
Like, this was a guy that this was like their hero. This was a guy they could relate to. Who beat up the boss. You know, the maniacally evil boss.
Yeah.
Always, you know, when the odds were stacked against him, he always rose and overcame them. And now he's gonna turn.
It made no
That's just
sense
that,
to turn him
and you
heel.
look at everything else, you look at everything else, WCW went out of business, ECW went out of business. The Rock was going to film a movie. I think he was going to film the Mummy Returns, I think.
I can't remember.
The Scorpion King.
Yeah,
I
but
know
then
it
he
was
had
one
the
of those
Alliance. Then he had the Alliance invasion.
Yeah,
That
you had,
was terrible.
and then you had the
Awful.
fucking WCW invasion storyline. What a fucking disappointment that was. An
That
absolute
was so
cluster.
bad. So bad.
Why the hell is Mr. WWF aligning with WCW? Why?
So fucking bad.
He was fired. Like this, it didn't make any sense. Like this, you got the biggest star in the history of the WWF. He was fired by Eric Bischoff, underutilized by WCW. He was fired when he was injured. He comes to WWF, becomes the biggest star there. He headlines multiple manias, becomes champion multiple times. He pretty much helps WWF defeat WCW in the Monday Night War ratings. To the point that pretty much Vince bought his competition. And now he's aligning with them?
Yeah, it makes no sense. Thankfully, they turned Steve
And also
Austin
that-
back
also-
in 2001 in November, right after the 01 Survivor Series. I think when Ric Flair.
And even before that, you know, not just The Rock leaving for movies. And obviously WCW, ECW, sadly, you know, going under. You know, Triple H, Tourist Squad.
Yeah, his first one out
He
of
shall not be named. Got injured. He broke his neck.
Yeah.
And then like, who do you have left as your top babyface? Like who? Undertaker? Like, listen, I love Taker, but yeah, 01 wasn't the greatest of his years. It wasn't.
2001 was not a good year at all for WWF at the time.
Oh, who was left? Jericho?
But he wasn't there yet.
I like I mean, Jericho was good at that point. You could certainly push him as a babyface, but as the top babyface,
Not yet at the time.
ridiculous. Honestly, like the only face they had left were like Kurt Angle.
And then they turned
And that
him
was
to had him
before-
join the Alliance.
Yeah, you had Kurt Angle. He was actually getting over as a face at that point. He was getting over, he evolved from comedy skits to a badass. He was getting over as a top baby, and he could have been the top babyface at that time. If
Yeah.
not Austin, outside of Austin and Rock, he could have been that. Because you see the reaction he was getting every Monday Night on Raw. The SummerSlam match with Austin, and then Unforgiven when he won the championship. He was
Yeah.
getting over. He could have been. He was, pretty much the top baby face of the company. And then, because all Vince McMahon, he turns him heel
Stupid.
for no reason.
Absolutely
Well,
fucking stupid.
actually, the reason was, because he was a double agent and take down the Alliance. But who gave a shit about the Alliance by that point? Who gave a shit about that storyline? Why would
that crap was dead.
Kurt Angle, he was not WCW.
No, he wasn't.
He was
WWF or
WWF and
ECW.
WWF only. He lived and breathed WWF.
Yeah.
And,
So why
and he
would
joined the fucking enemy team. A company that he had no association with. Like, what the hell?
So fucking stupid.
I mean, we
But-
could talk about the invasion story all
But
night long,
thankfully,
but,
they
it's a story
turned
for a
Steve
different time.
Austin face. Thankfully, though, they turned Steve Austin back into a baby face on the Raw after Survivor Series in 2001. Thank God they did that.
Yeah.
That was the right move. But
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about the invasion storyline all we want, but, that's a topic for a different time.
right. But moving on from Rock and Steve
Yeah,
Austin
but
from
for WrestleMania 17, that was, a legendary match. Say what you want about the term, but, that was a legendary moment, a legendary match on pretty much the greatest WrestleMania of all time.
Yeah.
I would say, arguably, this was in a lot of ways the peak of Steve Austin's career.
Yeah.
Well, he was still over, obviously, but when you look at everything that came after, he faced Scott Hall at WrestleMania 18, messed up Scott Hall.
The stunner cell he took from Steve Austin.
It was great, but not the match. The match was, well, there.
Yeah, it wasn't supposed to be him and Steve Austin. It was supposed to be Stone Cold. I know I don't like to mention his name, but it was supposed to be Steve Austin versus Chris Benoit, with Benoit being the first Paul Heyman guy, because the Raw to Survivor Series when Heyman got, quote, fired.
Yeah.
And Heyman was not supposed to be originally be with Brock Lesnar in 2002. But they went ahead with, but Lesnar was the plan B, and they went with Heyman and Lesnar in 2002.
Yeah. Sometimes things work out.
Everything happens for a reason, man. Everything in life happens for a reason. So,
yeah, but I will say this was the WrestleMania match. It felt like the culmination, pretty much. It was the culmination of the Attitude Era. You know, that time period. You know, those 4 or 5 year time period where everything just clicked. And on the show that that had the TLC match, TLC 2. You had Taker and Triple H.
Yeah.
The first time you had Benoit and Angle.
Yes. Kane, Big Show,
and Vince McMahon. It was a great match too. Surprisingly, it was also a fantastic match.
Yeah.
And then you capped that off with the main event. You know, which pretty much, in a lot of ways, in many ways, the greatest WrestleMania main event of all time, arguably. If not, if this isn't number one, it's definitely like in the top 2, top 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this was a legit. But when we speak about WrestleMania main events, you talk about, if this wasn't number one, if Austin and Rock, if you want to say it's number one, that's fantastic. It's easily top 3 main events of all time. But if this isn't number one, it's in the top 3. And this match may very well be the greatest WrestleMania main event of all time. Because my third greatest WrestleMania match of all time, WrestleMania 40, Night 2.
Yep, in Philadelphia.
Bloodline rules. Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns
for the undisputed WWE Universal WWE Heavyweight Championship, man. Cody Rhodes, a year in the making, finishing the story, becoming WWE Champion for the very first time in WWE. The entrance with Brandy Rhodes was great. Cody Rhodes, still to this day, most over guy in the entire company, pretty much the face of the WWE company today, taking John Cena's place and throne pretty much, and surpassing Roman Reigns, in my opinion. And
you talk about
the story, the build of this was great with The Rock. It was fantastic.
Yeah, you talk about WrestleMania main events. You talk about, a storyline that is years in the making, a culmination of everything that a wrestler has gone through, the obstacles, the challenges, the hardships, the adversities, to get to where they want to be.
Yeah.
This right here was just perfect. You got Cody. This wasn't a year in the making. This was, in a way, for Cody, like nearly 20 years in the making for him.
And you talk about a guy who was Stardust.
Yeah, in his first run, he was in OVW. You got a guy, with the Rhodes name, Dusty Rhodes, God rest his soul, legendary wrestler.
Yeah.
Cody, his son, he had a chip on his shoulder. Obviously, he started with the legacy. He was tag team champion. He was IC champion. He was on the rise. He was attempted to be a future star of the company. And at one point, he was one of the most over baby faces in the company. With Goldust, they had that match with Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins at Battleground.
Yeah, that's 2013.
Yeah. And what should have been pretty much the launching pad for him to be a star in the fucking company. What should have been a launching pad to be because he was getting main event reactions at that time. If you go back and watch those Raw episodes in September, October 2013, he was getting big reactions. And that pop when he pinned Roman, ironically enough, after the knockout punch from the Big Show.
Yeah, that was during the Authority era at the time in late 2013.
Yeah, he was getting huge reactions. He should have been one of the biggest. He should have been pushed as one of their top baby faces at that time. But then, unfortunately, Stardust, which was the death of his first WWE
character, was fucking utter trash, bro. Trash.
You talk about a career. Not career killer. Run-ending gimmicks. Stardust is there. And the gimmick actually, I will say, it wasn't actually that terrible. I'm going to say the gimmick wasn't actually that terrible. Cody was committed to the gimmick. He did good. The mannerisms, the way he acted, the way he kept kayfabe. And he had some good moments, with good matches, WrestleMania 31 and 32 ladder matches for the IC title. The feud with Stephen Amell
Yeah, and he had
for
Neville
SummerSlam
involved.
2015.
Yeah, but
He was doing. There was like it wasn't like everything was terrible, but it's like it was just so beneath him.
he
This
deserved
is a guy
much
that is
more
so good.
better.
This guy was who can cut promos, can wrestle, can get over, showing the ability can get over. This is the gimmick you saddle him with.
And then sadly, Dusty Rhodes passed away in
Yes.
June 2015. He died at 69. God rest his soul. The American Dream. He passes away, unfortunately. And when he passed away, Cody Rhodes didn't want to be in the Stardust character anymore. He wanted to be Cody Rhodes again to pay honor and tribute to his dad. And Vince McMahon said, "Nope, we're keeping you in Stardust." And they want
Yeah,
Vince
we're
wanted to hold him hostage.
We're
in
gonna
that
drop you
Stardust
on main event. We're gonna drop you on main event to fucking Epico and Primo.
And at that point, Cody Rhodes was a foot and a half out the door. He knew he had to leave. So May
This was pretty much the
2016,
end. This was pretty much the death nail of his WWE run, the first run that is. Got that
Yeah.
Stardust gimmick, and he was a jobber. He was a loser.
yeah. And then May 2016, he asked for his release and he was granted it. And he left the WWE in May 2016. He went to the Indies, and this guy bet on himself. He made himself into a big mega star. He made himself some nice money, some nice green, a nice payday. And he got himself over, and he made himself. He made himself, and he proved
He got
WWE
himself
wrong.
over.
Yeah, and he proved them wrong. They thought he wasn't a big star.
Started
He
his own
absolutely
company. He started
proved them
AEW.
wrong. Yeah, he helped
Let's
start
do this
AEW.
today.
He wrestled in Ring of Honor in New Japan. He met the Bucks. He met Kenny Omega, joined the Bullet Club, became the American Nightmare on the Indies, was the talk of the town on the Indies. He helped sell All In 2018 in Chicago. He helped create AEW, Adam, like you said, with Tony Khan and the Bucks and Omega and Hangman Page, and became an EVP. He was their start. He was their heart and soul of that company. Like his battles with MJF and Brody Lee, Luke Harper, God rest his soul. That dog collar match with Brody Lee was a classic for the TNT Championship in October 2020 during the pandemic, which was John Huber's last match in wrestling. And Cody Rhodes battles with Andrade in AEW, Malachi Black, and now Aleister Black, who is coming back very soon to WWE on SmackDown. I'm very confident on that. And Cody Rhodes did a lot for the AEW company, and then he left in early 2022. He came back home to WWE for the first time.
Came back to where it all began.
What?
Came back to where it all began.
Yeah. Like last time he was on Dynamite, he wrestled Sammy Guevara in that ladder match for the TNT Championship. Did like a Cody cutter off the ladder. Sammy Guevara did an RKO off the ladder.
Yeah, this was Cody working without an AEW contract, and I'm pretty sure this was it. I'm pretty sure he was the one that chose Sammy to be his final opponent in AEW. I'm pretty sure this was his move.
Yep.
I mean, he's the one who started the company. Of course, he's gonna have a say, and TK respected him enough.
And that
choose how he wanted to go out.
And the company's not been the same since he left, but that's a conversation for another day. But Cody Rhodes comes back home to WWE for the first time. He was away from the WWE for 6 years, and he comes back home at WrestleMania 38.
No longer a Stardust, thankfully.
Nope. The American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes.
Dead. No longer does he have to be a joke gimmick.
Nope.
I will say this about Stardust before we go. I don't see the gimmick as bad as it is, as many people would say, but in terms of perception, it's down. And in terms of perception, it has one of the worst reputations of perception. Because you got Cody, you had huge potential. He was on the up, he was on the rise, and then this gimmick happens. It was so bad, he basically wanted out of the company, and then he reinvents himself. He starts his own company, wrestles all over the world. He did All In, he started AEW, and then he comes back as pretty much a different guy.
He's pretty much AEW. He's pretty much AEW Cody Rhodes in WWE.
Yeah, basically, for Cody, it can't go any better. For Vince McMahon, I will say, it couldn't get any worse. You saddled this guy with this character. So it was so bad, you booked him so appallingly that he wanted out, and he pretty much started an entire new promotion years later.
Yep.
And then when he did come back, you pretty much had no choice but to bring it back as Cody Rhodes. Because he proved himself. Proved that he can be a star.
Yeah. He had a
I mean,
banger with
for
Seth Rollins.
yeah. I mean, for Cody, everything couldn't have worked out any better for him. Obviously.
Yeah. 3 bangers with Seth Rollins in 2022. WrestleMania 38 Night 1, WrestleMania Backlash 2022, Hell in a Cell 2022, Inside Hell in a Cell, where Cody Rhodes wrestled the entire cell match with a torn pec. He was out the rest of 2022. And then Cody Rhodes won the 2023 Royal Rumble. He wrestles Roman Reigns in the main event at WrestleMania 39 Night 2 in Los Angeles. SoFi Stadium wrestles Roman Reigns in the main event, where Cody, I think, should have won. But Roman Reigns ended up retaining, and then Cody beats Brock. Throughout the spring and summer of 2023, I did not like that rivalry at all, but I'm glad Cody won the rivalry in the end against Brock Lesnar. And then Cody Rhodes would then go on to win the 2024 Royal Rumble.
He won the tag team before that. He won the tag team titles with Jey Uso, but they had a token title run pretty much.
Yeah, feuding with the Judgment Day for a little bit. He was in War Games the night where CM Punk came back to WWE.
He had his first War Games match. The match his father made famous, the match that his father invented.
Yeah, then and that same night, Randy Orton came back for the first time in a year and a half. Then that same night, right after that, CM Punk came back for the first time WWE since 2014 after his not so good AEW run. But that's a conversation for another time. The CM Punk and Jack Perry incident from All In and Wembley in 2023, where Tony Khan said he feared for his life. But
that needs to be on a T-shirt. Fear for my life. That needs to be on a T-shirt at some point.
Yeah, but yeah, Cody Rhodes wins the 2024.
They can make some bucks off of it.
Yeah, but Cody Rhodes wins the 2024 Men's Rumble just like the 2023 Men's Royal Rumble. He wins it 2 years in a row. Then like the first time since Steve Austin to win it 2 years in a row.
Yeah. He was the first guy since Steve Austin to win back-to-back Rumbles.
Yeah. Then there was that SmackDown after the Rumble that year last year where Cody Rhodes said, "I'm wrestling you, Roman, but not at WrestleMania." And The Rock comes out, and it's like Rock he shows up when he wants, like didn't even earn it. He just takes Cody's Rumble win. And then we thought we were going to get Rock and Roman last year. That was not the time. And thank God
we want Cody movement started.
We want Cody. We want Cody was hashtagging on Twitter every single day.
He was getting booed. Every time The Rock's name was being mentioned, he was booed.
Yeah. Then The Rock was on Pat McAfee's show.
Vegas.
Yeah, that WrestleMania 40 press conference in Vegas. Yeah, where The Rock was like, whether you like it or you don't like it, you got what chance? You got booed out of Las Vegas. And Cody Rhodes came out and said, "I choose you, Roman Reigns." And they pivoted. And they turned The Rock heel for the first time since 2003. And you see what The Rock is doing still to this day with the Final Boss character. It's great. Where it's like Arizona, Arizona's the worst state for crack, and the Salt Lake City Jazz, they moved on like men when they lost the NBA Finals, and The Rock, finally your life has meaning, and Mama Rhodes, and it was great.
Mama Rhodes,
this is your son's blood on this belt. This one's for you, Mama Rhodes. This is your son. Look at your son. This is your son right here, Mama Rhodes.
That was amazing.
He beat him with the weight belt and that Raw in Chicago, that rainy Chicago Raw, like a week or two before WrestleMania last year. It was great. Then it's like they cut the show off, and you see it's on YouTube. Clear, guys. No, fuck that. This show's not over until The Rock says it's over. It was really good stuff. And then their tag match, that main event of WrestleMania 40 Night 1, where The Rock was like, "Listen to me, ref, you count, you're fired. The Rock, I don't fuck around. You count, you're fired."
That was amazing.
Yeah, and the right outcome where Cody was pinned.
Final Boss Rock was fucking unmatched.
Yeah. Then he had the Bloodline rules that
WrestleMania 40 Night 1 main event. Rock, Roman, Cody, and Seth Rollins. Yeah. Who wrestled an entire show. He worked an entire Mania weekend with crooked knees and an even worse back.
Yeah.
Basically wrestled with his body being held together by duct tape.
Yeah,
and chewing gums.
And if Seth Rollins the MVP,
and he was the MVP of that weekend.
Yeah.
Seth Rollins, he was the MVP of WrestleMania 40. But we're going to discuss it more. Obviously, we're going to discuss it more. But to get back, Rock, he pinned Cody on the night 1 main event, which pretty much because this, the stipulation was, if The Rock and Roman win, they get to choose their stipulation. the stipulation
Yeah.
for the match. And if Cody and Seth won, the match between Roman and Cody would have no interference. Sure thing. They would have no interference. It'd be straight 1-on-1, and then of course, obviously, The Rock pinned Cody, which led to Bloodline rules the following night.
Yes. And Jay speared Jimmy off the ramp stage, and then John Cena came out, laid out Solo Sikoa with an AA through the announce table. The Rock comes out, gives Cena the rock bottom. The Rock has the weight belt. You hear the Shield music, and I'm like, is that Dean Ambrose? And Seth Rollins, as the Shield gear comes out, he gets 40 things
again, Seth Rollins with crooked knees because he had a torn MCL and a torn meniscus. Seth Rollins with crooked knees and a bad back. And if you watch that video, Seth Rollins, it's just, I will say though, as gutsy as it was, it's kind of sad seeing him, barely moving and the way his knees bent.
Yeah. And
one thing I'll praise Seth Rollins for, and a lot of wrestlers, but one thing I'll praise Seth Rollins for is his commitment and dedication.
Yeah.
He was so dedicated to this. He's so dedicated to this business. He worked at a time anyway when he didn't have to. But he worked the entire weekend. He gave so much to that company at that time. He basically was the glue that held everything together. From that night 1 main event, and then night 2 match with Drew McIntyre, which was a really good match, and then that main event, where he promised Cody before WrestleMania on Raw that night. He said, promised him he will be his shield.
Yes,
he was Cody's shield on that night.
Yeah, he got Superman punched out by Roman, and then The Rock was about to hit Cody with the weight belt. When he tried it the first time, then we all thought Steve Austin would come out, but it was The Undertaker that came out. Lights go out, they come back on. Undertaker standing behind The Rock.
Undertaker with a beanie. Undertaker had a beanie on.
Yeah, he's like, and Michael commentary, holy Christ, the dead man has returned to WrestleMania. Choke slam.
Yeah, Undertaker with that visual now with Undertaker on a beanie is like so outrageous. It's so funny to me in a way.
Yeah.
See him anywhere, any outfit, but the American Badass outfit or the Dead Man. Like it's kind of weird, but it was cool.
Yeah, but he takes The Rock out of his boots for sure.
Yeah. Maybe now we know why The Rock wanted Cody's soul. He was inspired by the Undertaker.
I don't want your championship, Cody. I want your soul. I want you to be my champion. I know you're gonna do the right thing. Rock, I gave my soul to these people, to this ring. Hey, Rock, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. The Rock was inspired by the Undertaker, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
and then obviously the ending from Mania 40. Obviously.
Yeah. Roman hit Seth in the back with the chair.
Roman had two choices, pretty much. He had two choices. He either retains the championship or he gets revenge for the Shield breakup.
Yeah.
And this is the one moment that pretty much cost him the championship. He chose revenge over his own championship. He hit Seth Rollins with the chair. He gets his revenge for 10 years ago, but it came at a cost.
Yeah.
At the cost of his championship run. He's gonna hit the spear, then Cody reverses the triple crossroads, and the 3 count, and the place erupts. Michael Cole, the quote, when the 3 count was hit from Charles Robinson.
Finish the story.
Yeah.
And Samantha Irvin just emotional announcing, here's your winner and the new undisputed WWE Universal Champion, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. Just the emotion she felt when she announced that.
Just perfect. Just everything about that match was perfect. The in-ring work was obviously really good. The storyline of Cody Rhodes, chasing the championship, grinding, facing adversity.
Yes.
Leaving the company, coming back, winning the Rumble. Then, failing last year WrestleMania. He wins the Rumble again. And when The Rock almost stole his spot, the fans spoke up for Cody. Then Cody got his main event. He was the first man to main event back-to-back nights of WrestleMania. Night 1 and night 2. And then this match where this time, he had more people helping him. Jey Uso, Cena, Rollins, Taker. And then that finish. Just all around a roller coaster of emotions.
And Jeffrey Reimer
only happens that happens in professional wrestling.
Yeah. And Jeffrey Reimer says in the chat, Samantha was invested just like we was. Yeah, because wrestling, I mean, you can have good matches, but wrestling and with story is key. Just it's like a soap opera, like watching a movie. When you have a story, you're
You
hooked.
want to be related to somebody. You want someone to be related to. You want to
Absolutely.
gravitate to someone. You have a favorite. You gravitate towards. So you want to see them succeed. You see them grow.
Absolutely. And you just gets you to care.
And then when they reach the top, it's just filled with so much emotion, tears of joy. You know,
Absolutely.
the hardships, everything, but it was all worth it in the end.
And this was the first WrestleMania last year during the Triple H era.
Yeah,
Pretty
it
much.
was so perfect. And I was like, if not Austin, basically this main event and then Austin and Rock, top 2 WrestleMania main events of all time. And I will say the top 3 WrestleMania main events of all time, top 3. Austin and Rock, this match, and Shawn Michaels and Undertaker, Mania 26. Those are my top 3 WrestleMania main events ever.
Yeah.
But this match is just amazing. The culmination of years for Cody and finally reaching the top. The end of a historic championship run for Roman Reigns, a championship run, lasted 4 years which is rare in the modern day.
Yeah. You'll never have another reign like that ever again.
Yeah.
It was something special with Roman as champion. It did get a little stale towards the end, yes, but for the most part, his reign is definitely one of the more memorable reigns of the history of this sport and industry of professional wrestling, bar none. And just the work when he turned heel, became the head of the table and the tribal chief, and the work he did. He was with Paul Heyman. They had the bloodline we talked about for years. And just like Cody Rhodes pretty much taking the throne of this as the face of the company from not only John Cena, but Roman Reigns as well. And Cody Rhodes is pretty much the face of the company right now today. Pretty much.
Yeah. And as a matter of fact, he's going to headline a 4th WrestleMania. He's going to headline WrestleMania for the 4th time in his 3-year return run that he has had in WWE.
Yeah, night 2 WrestleMania 41 in Las Vegas. He'll be wrestling John Cena, who's a heel now. They have The Rock involved, and yeah, I mean, I'm liking what they're doing with Cody and Cena going into Mania. The build compared last year, this year, I think last year's is better so far. Like right now, I'm not feeling it for this year's Mania. I'm hoping they pick that up, and with 4 weeks left, I'm hoping they pick that up because
I think they will pick it up.
SmackDown last night was so fucking bad. SmackDown was terrible last night.
You got to build it when you got matches such as Cody and Cena.
Just look what we got last night, bro.
Reigns and Punk. I think they will pick it up.
Like they rushed those 3 men with that shit last night. That was so bad.
It kind of felt rushed. I will say it felt rushed.
Yeah, Zelina Vega and Piper Niven wrestled. That so bad last night. SmackDown was what the fuck was that? I know Raw's not perfect also, but that's night and day compared to SmackDown. Raw's better than SmackDown. It is. But I'm hoping the next 4 weeks they got. And plus the fact WrestleMania is pushed back later doesn't help either. And also SmackDown being 3 hours doesn't also help. It's got to change with SmackDown. Hopefully Raw's a better show Monday, but I feel like this year's Mania build, last year's Mania build I thought was better. I don't know what's going on, but I know they got 4 weeks left. I'm hoping the last couple of weeks they really amp it up. I really do. With Punk, Reigns, Rollins, they announced that Kevin Owens, Randy Orton is announced. That should be really good. I'm looking forward to that. Io Sky, Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley should be good. I'm enjoying what they're doing with those 3 ladies on Raw. Rhea's one of the most over. She's probably the most over female in the entire company right now. Bianca's great. Io's one of the best in the world and in the company and on the planet. So that should be a banger. And I think that should probably main event Night 1 WrestleMania 41 over Reigns, Rollins, and Punk, honestly. But that's just me. But
I mean, you won't go wrong with either, honestly. You won't go wrong with either. Triple threat being the main event.
Do you think CM Punk cashes in the Paul Heyman favor at WrestleMania?
I think he will. I mean, they've been building the story since November.
Yeah. But
and honestly, if I were to make a prediction, what the favor was, I think that favor is a WrestleMania main event. It could very well be.
What if Punk, Reigns, and Rollins is the main event of Night 1 WrestleMania 41, but that's not the favor?
Yeah, the favor is maybe CM Punk reunites with Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman turns on Roman at the end of WrestleMania, and he reunites with CM Punk. Because if you watch SmackDown last night, and you saw Paul Heyman right beside Roman, yeah, something is off there.
During the time last year when Reigns was out, Heyman was getting tortured by the Bloodline, and Roman didn't even contact Heyman.
He didn't even bother to show up for work. Meanwhile, the one guy that showed up for work and was there for Heyman was Punk.
Yeah. The night where Jacob Fatu debuted in WWE, that same night in Chicago, last June. I think I really hope they amp that shit up with the Mania build the rest of it this year, because right now I'm not feeling it. I'm hoping they amp that shit up times 20. Go with the next few weeks. I really do. But I mean Heyman and Punk back together, hey, you're not going to get a complaint out of me.
Yeah. But yeah, as we mentioned with WrestleMania 40 and then main event, just a roller coaster. Just an incredible main event. One of the all-time best main events you'll ever see.
Yeah. And Jeffrey Reimer
as Michael Cole said on commentary, I love professional wrestling.
Absolutely. Wrestling is a soap opera. It's not just about
good
love matches.
Story, in a way.
Yeah, it's not just about good wrestling in ring. You need story. If you don't have story, it's hard to get the fans to really give a shit about what you're seeing and to really invest their time. That's important. That's just why AEW is struggling. They need story. But Jeffrey Reimer says in the chat here, Cody is at 378 days as WWE champion currently and is about to pass John Cena's reign he had at 380, I believe. Yeah, Cody Rhodes has been champion. He's going to be champion for over a year going into Mania 41 weekend. That just goes to show you how much the company has trust in Cody Rhodes. I mean, this guy got The Rock to turn heel, got John Cena to turn heel for the first time in years. It should tell you something.
It's very hard to do that.
Yeah.
This is something that was thought of as impossible.
Yeah.
The fact that he managed to do it says a lot about his talents and how popular of a face he is. Because when it comes to heel turns, a heel turn doesn't work if the babyface isn't so popular that the fans would hate the guy that turns on him. A babyface has to be so popular that when he gets turned on, the guy that gets turned on will be massively hated.
Absolutely.
That's what they accomplished with The Rock. And when The Rock turned, people sided with Cody. When Cena turned, people sided with Cody.
Yeah. Then Jeffrey Reimer says,
I say when it's all said and done, Cody Rhodes will go down as one of the greatest baby faces of all time.
Yeah, when he eventually turns heel, that's going to hit hard.
Yeah, but not anytime soon.
No, definitely not.
It's not going to happen. Not anytime soon.
Absolutely not. But Jeffrey Reimer also says in the chat, put it back to 2 hours SmackDown. Absolutely. Yeah. They had last night on X a LinkedIn or Indeed thing. WWE hiring for new writers. No shit.
Yeah. Hire us as writers.
Yeah, literally. Get fucking Road Dogg out of there. He sucks at his job. Get him out. Get him out. SmackDown, since the move to 3 hours, has been god-awful. And it's really decreased the quality of that show as a whole. It's not even funny. It's that bad. Raw 2.5 hours is so much better. And the Raw overall quality, night and day. I mean, I know Raw's not great either, not perfect, but it's still good and better than SmackDown.
Honestly, the problem with SmackDown in a way, and the problem here is that, they got a 2-hour roster, but they have a 3-hour show. I think I've said numerous times when we discussed it. They have a 3-hour show, but they are working with a 2-hour roster. And the roster isn't big enough for a 3-hour show.
And not only that, a very mid-card like roster. Not much star power at all.
Maybe they get sold with
Pretty Deadly
draft after WrestleMania.
Like Pretty Deadly, Los Garza, Zelina Vega, Chelsea Green.
I mean, nothing against those guys, but I think they need a shakeup. The show needs a shakeup. A roster revamp.
Yeah,
I think
so
we may get a draft after WrestleMania.
I hope so, because SmackDown could use it bad. And I know they're going back to 2 hours in June. They need to just move it back to 2 hours now. I can't stand these
And
3
then,
hours
with the
SmackDowns
likes of
anymore.
Ray Phoenix and Aleister Black coming in to SmackDown.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're going to give the show the boost. They're going to give the show the boost that it needs right now.
Yeah. And then Jeffrey Reimer says CM Punk tried to play mind games with Roman last night, and then he also says, "Please get Road Dogg out of there." We're with you. I absolutely agree. And
I mean, I don't know. Like, listen, I mean, I know it's not all Road Dogg. Triple H obviously is the one, at the seat. He approves of this, but
he's the head of creative.
I mean, things can be so much better.
I don't think even Triple H wants to shed it for 3 fucking hours.
Honestly, things can be so much better than what they are.
Yeah, I don't think Paul Levesque even wants SmackDown at 3 hours, to be quite honest with you. I think even he knows the show is too fucking long.
I mean, he once said that if we're up to him, I think when he was on the Steve Austin podcast a decade ago, he said if we're up to him, Raw would just move back to 2 hours.
Yeah. I think he said on Pat McAfee's podcast it's going to be 2 hours. It's not 3 hours for long.
Yeah, I think they're going to go back
fast enough.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so bad. And then SmackDown needs all the help they can get at this point. Even Punk and Roman couldn't save last night's shit show. I mean, they progressed some story like Owens and Orton, but I mean, that was one of the worst shows last night. Terrible. But
they need a revamp, and hopefully they pick things up.
That show needs a complete.
We'll see what happens on Raw. We'll see what happens next week on SmackDown.
It feels like Triple H is running Raw, but Road Dogg is running SmackDown, and you see why.
I mean, hopefully things can get.
And you see why SmackDown's been bad and Raw's been better.
Yeah, hopefully they can pick things up. With Raw this Monday. SmackDown. Next week. Hopefully, the road to WrestleMania. Is shaped up nicely.
They got John Cena.
Shaped up nicely as it is, but hopefully they make it better.
They got John Cena and Cody Rhodes on Monday. What else they got? I'm sure they got like the Finn Balor, Dominic, and Judgment Day.
I think CM Punk will be on track. I think CM Punk is advertised for the next 2 episodes Monday Night Raw.
Yes, Punk will be there too. I think what we
CM
saw
Punk and
last
Roman Reigns are also set for the next 2 episodes of SmackDown.
Yeah, with the Punk, Reigns, and Rollins stuff from SmackDown last night, the end of the show, rushed. I think come Raw Monday and let's go with Punk there. I'm sure that anything is better than what we got last night. But yeah.
Maybe they do redo the segment again. Maybe they do a segment like that again a couple of weeks later, but this time to give them more time.
Yeah, they did.
These are your 3 biggest stars. They're basically 3 of the biggest stars in the fucking business. They should be getting, on a feud like that, a match like that of that caliber, they should get time.
Absolutely.
They should be getting like 5 minutes. I'm talking like 10 minutes, 15 minutes segments.
It was all the segment was just entrances.
Exactly.
Like, what the hell was that?
They're more than just entrances. These are compelling characters.
Yeah.
Three guys with with different characters, compelling, with a deep-rooted history. They're more than just entrances.
Yeah.
Maybe I think they will do one better next time. I think they'll do a segment, and I think they'll do that segment a lot better if they ever redo it again. And I think they will get more time, but whatever that was on Friday, that wasn't it. For Rollins, for the calibers of Rollins, Punk, and Reigns, it should be better. I think they will do one better next time.
Hopefully on Monday, because SmackDown is just the worst weekly show on TV right now. NXT is better than SmackDown. That's not saying much. And then Jeffrey Reimer says it's not as bad as AEW, that's for sure. LOL. Nails in the back to grab ratings. That's a conversation for another day, Jeffrey Reimer.
Yeah, that's a conversation for a different day. But
then
I will say they nailed it, per se.
Yeah, no pun intended.
Moving on.
Jeffrey Reimer says
I like you, Moxley. I like Moxley. But just to get out of it, I like Moxley. We're not shit talking him, but
right. But
whatever he's doing now, please, this isn't it. Do better. Do better.
Just like with SmackDown last night, do better.
Yeah.
When it's bad, call out on it. Got to be open and honest. Can't sugarcoat shit. You got to be real and honest with yourself. I was at the Raw and MSG a few weeks ago. Enjoyed my time there, but I thought the show was boring. And I felt like Reigns, Rollins, and Punk saved that show.
Yeah.
But
This is the kind of segment that they should be getting.
yeah,
With Reigns, Rollins, Punk, like the one on Raw. This is the type of segment they should be getting, and maybe
I'm
they.
hoping
I think they will
I'm
get.
hoping to God Monday on Raw Monday in Glasgow blows last night's shit out of the water. That's how bad last night was. And then Jeffrey Reimer says, "But I'm glad we saw Naomi's new look and homage to Owen Hart." Owen Hart. Yeah, I did see that last night.
And this was the black and gold singlet with the caption, and then the segment that the type of tie that Owen used to wear back in '98.
Yeah. But before we close this video, your thoughts on what could be on the WrestleMania, like what could be the rest of the matches on the current WrestleMania card going into WrestleMania 41 in Las Vegas. We got Io Sky, Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley's going to be in there. We got Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte. We got Reigns, Rollins, Punk, Kevin Owens and Randy Orton, Gunther, Jey Uso, and then John Cena and Cody Rhodes.
Yeah,
that's
six matches, and those are so far 6 matches for WrestleMania. I think they're going to space them out. I mean, they're obviously not going to take place in one night.
No, definitely WrestleMania is 2 nights.
Yeah, I think that will separate them. They're obviously going to be separated on different nights. I mean, Cody C, that's pretty much a night 2 main event. That's pretty much like the definitive night 2 main event.
Definitely.
So for the rest of the matches, for the rest of the matches that I think will happen on the show that they might book for WrestleMania, I think one of them can be. I think one of them will be. I think one of the matches will be for the Women's Intercontinental Championship, Bayley versus Lyra Valkyria.
But what happened to Bayley and Roxanne Perez, by the way?
I think they will pick up the feud again. It's just not going to be a one-on-one, at least not now. But maybe they do Bayley versus Lyra at WrestleMania. I mean, they've been teasing Bayley going after the IC title for a while, and she has a win over Lyra.
I said this on the SmackDown stream with Mitch last night. I was originally gonna go with Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria for the women's IC title at WrestleMania, but with 4 weeks left to go, does that feel rushed with Becky and Lyra going into Mania, or do you save Becky Lynch for the Raw after WrestleMania and you start the Becky Lyra?
We don't even know if she's gonna come back for WrestleMania. I don't think she's gonna be back in time for Mania. I mean, it feels rushed. I mean, I thought for sure she was going to be back in time, maybe around February, January.
Yeah, but we didn't get her.
Maybe she wants to take, she wants to have more time off. I mean, which I will say, nothing against her. I mean, she deserves the time off and be there with her family.
Yeah, but
it's like if with 4 weeks to go for Mania in Vegas, it kind of feels it would be rushed to do a match Becky versus Lyra with Bayley at least. You have a way of it because Bayley's on the shows every week. She's she's a workhorse of that division.
She does have a victory over Lyra in that elimination chamber qualifying.
They've been teasing her going after the Intercontinental Championship. I think this is what will happen. I think Lyra will retain against Raquel.
Yeah, but I feel like something's got to give. One of these women has to go heel, Lyra or Bayley.
Yeah, maybe if Roxanne is in there, maybe you can have a triple threat match: Bayley, Lyra, and Roxanne at WrestleMania for the IC belt. And this is how you kickstart the Roxanne and Bayley's feud.
You could, but at the same time, I would rather not because you don't want too many multi-man matches at WrestleMania.
Or maybe Roxanne isn't on the WrestleMania card. Maybe she wrestles at Stand and Deliver, maybe, and then Bayley and Lyra can be a singles match for the IC belt.
Maybe that, but. I mean, hey.
That will be one of the matches I see happening on the card, Bayley and Lyra. And it gives Bayley a match on the WrestleMania card, and as well as Lyra.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It may or may not make the show, but if it doesn't make the show, I mean, you got to have this is what Triple H did with Black and Gold NXT. What matters on the show goes on like a takeover. The same thing like with the WWE main roster PLEs. If you're not booked in anything important on TV, why do you need to be on the show? Not everyone has to be on the show.
I will say the one with Bayley at least is kind of important because they've been she's teasing going after the IC belt every week, and obviously there's no way they're gonna take Bayley off the fucking WrestleMania card. I mean, she's not gonna go for fucking champion. She's not gonna go for winning the Rumble last year, winning the championship, almost main eventing Mania, and then be left off the card the following year. I don't see them doing this. I think Bayley will make it on the WrestleMania card.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the opener of either night. Either night at WrestleMania, maybe that's the opener.
I would also say AJ Styles, Logan Paul at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I think that's a match that will happen. I think that is a lock for the show. AJ and Logan.
Yeah. The same thing with Penta and Braun Breaker for the Intercontinental Championship.
Before we mention that, Logan, he eliminated AJ from the Rumble. AJ's been back on WWE television after he suffered that injury.
Yeah.
Logan has been teasing going after AJ, and then you had these segments with Karrion Kross, with his hair, changing, looks to reflect, basically becoming an evil reflection of said wrestler that he impersonates. One of them was AJ Styles.
And speaking of Karrion Kross, I thought he'd get Sami Zayn at this year's WrestleMania, but I read a rumor before he went live here that Sami Zayn, update on Sami Zayn, he looks like he's taking time off. He may not even make WrestleMania this year and take time off.
Sami Zayn has confirmed that he's actually not taking time off, that the report is false.
Ugh. Can't always believe that they're.
Why would they take Sami Zayn off the show? You really think they could?
Do Sami versus Kross at Mania? Do you have Sami Zayn involved in the Kevin Owens, Randy Orton stuff?
I'm gonna do Sami and Kross. I mean, Logan and AJ. I mean, that seems to be a lock, and that will be a fantastic match. You got Braun Breaker defending the IC title versus Penta, Pentagon Jr. And Penta has been on a hot run right now. He's very over with the crowd. Braun Breaker as well. One of the best parts of Monday Night Raw. And a future world champion at that. I think this is where they have Braun drop the IC title. I think he will drop it at WrestleMania. Then he ascends to the main event full time.
Yeah, I think Penta beats Braun Breaker at WrestleMania for the Intercontinental Championship, and then Braun Breaker goes on to win the King of the Ring and wins the World Heavyweight title at SummerSlam at MetLife for one of the nights.
Yeah, I think they do Karrion Kross versus Sami Zayn. They've been again, that's another match they've been teasing, and now Kross, he had that same look. He looked, he had a similar look to Sami. Basically, what Kross is giving is that he does these segments, these psychologicals. He tortures people psychologically, and he's basically an evil reflection of these people.
Yeah,
he shows what they would be like if they were villains.
Yeah, and Jeffrey Reimer says, "Can't wait to see Rey Fenix and Aleister Black." Yeah, yeah. Hell yeah!
I think they do Kross and Sami and Mania. I mean, I obviously said it. Like, you really think Triple H is gonna take Sami Zayn of all people off WrestleMania? Sami Zayn basically is one of his boys, one of his guys.
Or do they have Kevin Owens and Randy Orton? They have their match at Mania. Randy does the punt, and that puts Owens out. But they do a draft. They draft Kevin Owens to Raw, and then after WrestleMania, they have a Raw feud with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, and they pick up where they left off at the Chamber in Toronto.
I think that was done at the Chamber. I think they get separated for now. I think they do Sami and Kross for WrestleMania, because with Sami, I mean, obviously the same thing that I mentioned with Bayley earlier, because Sami as well, if not for other than Bayley, he has also been a head part of WrestleMania these past few years. He was part of the Bloodline. He main evented 39. He won the tag team titles with Kevin Owens. He won the IC title from Gunther. He ended his record-breaking IC title reign, and you're gonna take him off the show. You're gonna have him not make the card this year. Even if it's like the biggest match in the world, if it's the biggest match on the card per se, it's at least it's something. It has a reason to happen on the show. And Karrion Kross, he's been having some good character work. He's been nailing this character to a T. He's a creative dude, a good guy. I think he deserves a spot at Mania. It could be a middle of the card match, and a good one for both guys.
Yeah,
it gives Kross something to do. Sami gives him something to do, and there's a reason for the match happening. They've been telling that story for weeks.
And then Jeffrey Reimer said, especially if Sami had a big match last year. Yeah.
Yeah. He had a big match almost, since 2022, you can say. He had the match with Johnny Knoxville, celebrity match at 38 as well. The main event 39, and then the match with Gunther last year. I think he makes the card this year, and it's going to be a match with Kross.
One match, another match I could also see is Finn Balor versus Dominic.
Yeah.
Especially what happened on Raw last week, where Dominic kind of cost Balor the IC title last week against Braun Breaker on Raw.
Yeah, I mean, they've been building that story for months, for 6 months now. The the end of Finn Balor and Judgment Day, and Dominic's ascension to be the leader. I think that's also a lock. Another match I could see.
And Dominic's teasing Penta joining the Judgment Day and new members. It's not. I don't think that's gonna happen.
Another match I could see maybe is another match I see happening is the WWE Tag Team Title match at WrestleMania. Maybe a multi-man tag match. Street Profits, Morrissey Machine Guns, DIY, and maybe Los Garzas. Angel and Humberto.
Maybe, but probably Street Profits, DIY,
or maybe or just a 3-way tag with the Machine Guns and the Profits and DIY.
Yeah,
that can also happen. I think that's gonna be on the card. So this is like now what? This is now what? 12 matches on the card.
Kinda, yeah.
I mean, we already mentioned the WWE Championship match, World Heavyweight Championship match, both women's title matches. KO, Randy, and Rollins, Reigns, and Punk.
Does Chad Gable make WrestleMania this year with the New Day against the LWO?
Yeah. So now we mentioned the women's IC title match, WWE Tag Team title match, Sammy and Cross.
If there's two matches I don't think makes the Mania card, is the World Tag Team titles and the women's US title.
Yeah, we mentioned already, Finn Dom, the women's IC title match, WWE Tag title match, Sammy Cross.
Yeah.
So that's 10 matches?
Kinda, yeah. 10 matches. But, I mean, though, you don't want to add too much on the card, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, that is 10 matches on the card. Then you have maybe the LWO, Dragon Lee, and Rey Mysterio, a mystery member, against Chad Gable and the New Day. You can do that.
Maybe. Jacob Fatu
and then maybe for
and Xavier mentioned in the chat.
Jacob Fatu and Solo.
That should be. I do not want to see them in a multi-man U.S. title match.
We almost forgot about
Solo one-on-one.
No. They should be one-on-one. It should be Jacob and Solo one-on-one at WrestleMania. And that is another match. It is, warrants to be on the WrestleMania card. With the story, Jacob Fatu pretty much is almost, he's getting over.
Yeah.
He's getting incredibly over even without the bloodline. Solo costing him, opportunities, opportunities U.S. title, opportunities to be in the Elimination Chamber. And he cost him a match versus Braun Strowman. And this could be a big showcase match for Jacob Fatu, being at the biggest stage of his career.
Absolutely.
And Solo, finally gets his first singles WrestleMania match.
Yeah.
So this is now 12 matches on the card.
Probably.
Then you do six each night.
Or maybe 7 to 8 for each night, because I'm also thinking Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest, and then LA Knight.
Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest also.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is 14 matches, 7-7. I think that's perfect. You don't want to overstack the show, but I mean, for WrestleMania, at least you can make an exception. You can make an exception for WrestleMania, but this is, I think, 7 matches. 7 each on each card. That's enough.
Yeah, and then Jimmy Uso.
Yeah, I don't think the
LA Knight for the U.S. title.
Maybe.
And then Jeffrey Reimer says also in the chat. Naomi versus Jade, I could see that.
Yeah, I think as well. If you want to add a bonus match, if you want to add maybe a one extra match on either night, I think that's the match to add.
Yeah, 2 women matches for night 1 and the other 2.
The only title matches that I don't see happening at WrestleMania this year are like the women's U.S. title match and the World Tag Team titles. Those are like the only titles I don't see making the Mania card this year. Maybe the women's tag team titles. Maybe they do something with the Wyatt 6 at WrestleMania. With Liv and Raquel, Bliss, and Cross, maybe.
No,
the Wyatt 6 have some involvement on the show.
Well, the Wyatt 6 are not going to make Mania this year.
I mean, maybe they have an involvement show. Maybe they have a segment.
Yeah.
I mean, because Bo Dallas is about to return soon. I mean, I
think the Wyatt 6 come back after WrestleMania, if I'm being completely honest. Because one of them,
I think they have an involvement at WrestleMania. If I'm honest, I think they have an involvement at the show, whether it's a match or a segment.
I don't know, but time will tell on that. But those are predictions for the rest of the WrestleMania card. I'd say 7 to 8 matches for night 1 and then for night 2. You don't want to overstack the card just for the sake of it. It's like going to like a restaurant and you have your protein and your carb and your vegetable, and then you add like extra stuff like say like you got a burger or like fries or one that with vegetables.
It gets
like,
tiresome at some point.
And then it's like you add like what about onion rings? You add tots. It's a lot. It's too much.
Yeah.
You know, and then Jeffrey Reimer says it best. We don't want a TK card. Yeah, quality over quantity. Less is more.
Card will be having 100 matches.
Yeah, you don't need to overstack just for the sake of opening the stack in the damn card. It's
you can have the pay-per-view, but you don't need to have like 90 matches on the show.
Yeah, where a lot of them
like
make sense to be on the show.
You need a breather.
Yeah, not everyone has to be on the show. We don't need multi-man mania.
And there has to be breathers
on the card. Exactly.
Yeah,
this is why I've been saying vocally as of late.
Matches.
Yeah, this is why I've been very vocal as of late. They should have the Money in the Bank's return at WrestleMania. Scrap the Money in the Bank gimmick pay-per-view and have the Money in the Bank's return at WrestleMania. Women's Money in the Bank for night 1 and the men's for night 2. Simple. And the gets like, because Carmelo Hayes, I don't think is going to be on the card. You have Money in the Bank's return at Mania. It gets people like Carmelo Hayes and Andrade on the WrestleMania card instead of putting them in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, which means nothing. Why not have Money in the Bank's return at WrestleMania?
What do you get from even winning that fucking trophy?
Yeah, it means nothing.
You're gonna win a stock in catering.
Yeah, winning the Andre the Giant Battle Royal doesn't mean jack shit. You could put me in there; it would mean nothing.
Yeah, I could win the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and I would pretend it never even happened.
Yeah,
I just pretend it never even existed.
Yeah, I think Money in the Bank returning at WrestleMania would make WrestleMania better, in my opinion. But anyways, that's our predictions for predicting the rest of the WrestleMania 41 card. And that is our top WrestleMania matches of all time. We're about almost hour 50 minutes and almost 2 hours, and we're probably going to wrap up right here.
It was a pleasure doing this, honestly. It was a pleasure doing this.
Absolutely. We went almost 2 hours.
Podcast, it was an honor.
Absolutely. And won't be the last time we do this. And again, this is just once a month here on YouTube and the channel and all, because obviously with my work schedule, I'm sure Adam's work schedule and yada, yada, yada. So the next time for the episode 2 of the Forbidden Podcast will be somewhere around April next month. So for the date for that second episode, we'll keep you guys posted, and it'll be determined at a later date. We'll keep you guys updated what's going on, but that'll come probably be before. Not sure, be before or after Mania. Definitely speak with Mitch, but we'll figure that out. But anyways, guys, hopefully this year's Mania build picks up the last few weeks going into Mania. I'm not feeling it now. Hopefully it picks up. But I will say, though, what will pick up is the second episode of Forbidden Podcast that I'm sure will be even better than this. So this was a good one. And this was cool, says Jeffrey Reimer. Absolutely. An honor to have you here, Adam. I'm honored to do this with Hardcore Sports and YouTube and Furious Nation. So hit the like on the video. Go subscribe to Furious Nation and Hardcore Sports. Again, 1,300 subscribers. Definitely go to support those guys and get them some more subscribers. And it's only going to get better for them here on out. And I'm honored to be a part of the team. So is Adam over here. And again, go subscribe to Hardcore Sports. Be greatly appreciated. Go subscribe to Furious Nation on YouTube as well. Hit the bell for all notifications as well when you subscribe to not only Furious Nation, but also Hardcore Sports as well. Follow me on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, though I don't use it. Go follow Adam Carl on X as well. Yada, yada, yada. And Adam, any final words?
Follow me on X and on Instagram, Adam Carl 2005.
Yep. Go follow Adam Carl.
ADAMCA RL2005.
Yeah, that's on X and on Instagram. So I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Nice weather out here in New York. May go for a walk a little bit after this video, but enjoy the rest of your Saturday. And thank you guys so much for joining us here for the first episode of the Forbidden Podcast. And we will see you guys later for more good content on YouTube, Fury Station, and Hardcore Sports. And next time you will see me, I will probably won't be on SmackDown Watch Long next week because of like things going on. Plus, I got surgery coming up. Hopefully that goes well April 2nd. But I'll definitely be on the upcoming future videos here on YouTube, Fury Station, Hardcore Sports. So thank you very much for taking the time out of your day to join us, watch us here, and enjoy the rest of your Saturday. And we will talk to you guys later. Peace out.